Hey guys, Eric here, Mr. Fired Up Wealth. I want to do a quick video today about some investing basics and get a little bit into the financial independence, retire early with dividends, the FIRED methodology, kind of how I invest for early retirement. So first and foremost, you should be investing in a Roth IRA. You might not qualify, but you can still do a backdoor. If you're under the age of 50, you can do $6,000 per year. So the first thing you want to do is a Roth, and that's going to be $6K for anybody under the age of 50. You can do $6,000 a year. So you want to max that baby out every single year. That's going to allow dividends to accrue. It's going to allow gains to accrue without any tax ramifications. So when you go to retire at age, when you are at the retirement age, say you're 60 years old, even if you retired early, you'll then be able to take the money out of your Roth and not pay any taxes on it. Next thing you want to do is if you have a job that pays a 401k match, you want to go ahead and do at least the match. So you can go up to $19,500 in a 401k. Some people like to max it out. I only do the match of the employer. So if the match is, say it's 5% of the first 5% or whatever it is, every employer is a little bit different. Find out what the max is to the match, and then I simply just go to that number. I used to max out my 401k and do the 19,500, but when I realized that I wanted to retire before the age of 59 and a half, I realized that I'm going to need a lot of assets in a taxable account to help float that. So this is what I do. My wife and I don't qualify for a Roth. We do individual IRA. You can do a backdoor. We haven't really done a whole lot of that, but we do have a Roth still from when we were in our younger years before we made good money. And so we have Roth IRAs, we have rollovers, we have individuals, we have 401ks. It's kind of a mess of a lot of different accounts. We max out our individual IRA. In your case, most people's cases, they either do an individual IRA and they roll it over, or they just simply have the Roth IRA, max it out at 6K, then do your 401k match at work. And then if you're going for early retirement, you'll want to look at a taxable brokerage account. So when you think of, my Fidelity account that I show, that's a taxable brokerage account. Obviously, you're going to pay taxes on any dividends. You're going to be paying taxes on any gains. If you hold a stock for 1 year and it's a long-term investment, you're going to pay most of the time 15%. Some people pay 20% depending on their tax bracket. If it's a short-term capital gain, say you swing trade it, you only have it for 2-3 months, and you gain $10,000, you're going to have to pay whatever your tax bracket is. So if you're in a 30% tax bracket, you'd pay $3,000 on that $10,000 gain. So that's what you're going to want to do. So what I do is I max out your Roth, do your 401k match, and then as much as you possibly can into your taxable brokerage. Now, the way that the Fired Up methodology works, the way my strategy works, is I invest in growth stocks. So you're going to buy the stocks that I talk about, like Splunk and there's a bunch of them on the site, of course. Odka, Splunk, Zscaler, et cetera. Those type of growth stocks. Generally, Rule of 40 stocks. And I'm going to do a video on the Rule of 40 soon, and that'll be a separate conversation because I can probably spend a good 10 minutes talking about the Rule of 40. But you're gonna invest in growth, and then you're gonna take the profits from the growth. So you're gonna over time, you're going to cash out profits. You're gonna shave profits, and you're gonna take that cash and you're gonna convert it into DGI. So that's Dividend Growth Investing, and you can do DGI in a couple of ways. You can do it as an ETF, or you can do it as an individual stock. So what I do is I have different pillars within my portfolio. I've got a growth pillar, I've got a spec pillar, I've got a DGI of individual stocks, and I've also got ETFs. And there's subcategories to that, but let's just keep it simple. So you've got ETFs in one bucket here. We'll call this the ETF bucket. ETF. All right. And in that I have another video that has the 5 ETFs that I use for financial freedom. The main one that most people know is VU. That's the Vanguard S&P 500. And that's going to pay you about a 2% yield right now. You're going to have the QQQ, which is going to be the NASDAQ 100. So that's going to have the FANG stocks, a lot of biotech. It's going to be tech heavy, of course. Then you're going to have another one I like is called VYM, and that's the Vanguard High Yield, and that pays over a 3% yield. Has things like Verizon, AT&T, Pepsi Cola, Johnson and Johnson, there, JP Morgan Chase. There's some really high quality companies. And then you've got the DGRO, and I have a video that's just on ETFs that breaks these 5 ETFs down. It's like a 30-minute video. So if you want more in-depth information on these ETFs, you can certainly take a look. I'll put a link up and you can go check out that video. And then SCHD. And so in that video, I explain why I like the balance of these 5 different ETFs, but they're going to pay depending on how you allocate them. So the QQQ pays only a 0.75% yield, where VYM and SCHD pay over 3% yield. VU's closer to 2. DGRO is closer to about 1.5. If you do it right, you can get it to about a 2.5% dividend, yield. And as you get closer to retirement, you can adjust that number as needed. And so you could, buy more VYM or buy more SCHD and, go lower, lighter on the QQQ because you don't need as much growth. Once you have the money, you want to have some growth, but it's more about capital preservation. So in the beginning, when you're younger, you're going to invest in growth. You're going to take growth. You're going to convert the growth, the profits. You're going to take that profit and you're going to buy things like ETFs and DGI. So one pillar, one bucket there is ETFs. The other one is going to be DGI. So that's Dividend Growth Investing stocks. And I have a whole series of videos on the website that break down my top 60 favorite dividend growth investing stocks for the next decade. Things like Nike and Nvidia and Microsoft and, stocks like that. But take a look at that series. It's broken down by sector. So if you're interested, say, just in utilities, you can go and find the utilities video and find a few ideas for utilities and so on. So DGI, I have things like, the Microsofts of the world, and that's going to be the DGIF. But I also have things that aren't DGIF to help increase the yield. And as I get older and as I convert more profit, I do buy some of the higher yield stuff that I think is safe. So you could buy a Verizon that pays about a 4% yield. You can have an AT&T that pays you about a 6% yield. You can have an AbbVie that pays you over a 6% yield. Cardinal Health, which pays over a 4% yield. There's a ton of them. But so I have some of these high yielders in here, and it's blended together with things like Microsoft and Apple and Home Depot and Costco, and you get a big mix. But you can adjust that dividend growth investing bucket anywhere from 1.5% to 3-4%. If you wanted to, you can go even higher. You could buy, just AbbVie's and the AT&T's of the world and get it at 6%. Point being is, depending on how much income you need, you can adjust this DGI bucket. So this is going to be part of your core at the 2.5% yield in ETFs. Some people might choose to do 75% of that. Well, now you're going to need more capital because your yield's at 2.5% on that bucket. Or you might choose to do 50% ETFs and, maybe do 30% DGI. That's kind of up to you. I have my own ideas on that, and as I do more videos, I'll break that down more. Now, the other thing I want to point out is, so when you're investing, you want to invest every paycheck. So your 401k, that's automatically coming out of your paycheck. It's being invested every time you get paid. With your Roth, you have to do that on your own. So you have to be a little bit strategic, and you can try to time the market if you want, but try to be consistent. Maybe you do, 1/4 of it each quarter. Maybe if you think the bottom's here and you have all $6,000, so be it. Throw it. It's up to you, but be consistent, especially in the 401k. And then I also invest in my taxable consistently. So every single paycheck, I take some of my paycheck and I'll buy some of my ETFs and I'll buy some of my DGI and I'll add to my positions. Now, the other part of the portfolio is going to be cash. And you can have basically cash, you can have bonds, you can have CDs, but you want basically liquid assets, preferably just cash is what I try to hold. And that number can be anywhere from 5 to 15%, depending on your suitability and risk tolerance and all those things. And the way I handle the cash literally sits there, and I have it in a Fidelity account where it's technically liquid like cash, but it's basically a It's a bond, kind of like a bond money market that it sits in, and it's a tax-free one that I have. You have to have X amount of cash to qualify for it with Fidelity. But I've got this cash. It pays, like 1.5% yield or whatever, and it's completely tax-free. So I collect a little bit on there. I'm not making a lot, but the whole point of having that cash is so that you can buy things when they're on sale. And so right now I'm buying as every time the market goes lower, I buy and I buy heavier with that cash position. I also buy heavier, with my paychecks that are coming in, but my paychecks, every single paycheck is consistent. I might buy, I might wait 2 days and buy on Tuesday, but it's, I'm not just sitting on that cash when I get paid. I'm investing as soon as I can, usually within, 3 to 5 business days. I'm investing consistently into those ETFs, into those stocks. That's one set of cash. The other this cash I'm talking about here on your screen, this is part of the portfolio that literally just sits there and basically collects a small interest. And it's there so that you have cash to buy things when it goes on sale. And, there's times where it's going to sit there a long time. Generally, we've had 5% and 10% dips over the last few years. You get to that 5%, some of your cash goes down, and then the market starts going back up, and you actually start putting more into cash. And so I try to keep the cash at 5 to 10%. And, if my cash position's low, I either sell some profit, take some froth off of something that's gone way up and put some of that into cash. Or when I'm getting my paycheck, instead of buying into my ETF that week, I might take some of that money from that paycheck and put it into the cash position to make sure I'm always balanced correctly in my portfolio. So what I'm doing right now, people ask me, what are you doing as the market goes down? Obviously we had a huge 35% drop, and then it went up 15, 20%. Now today we're down 5% again. It's going to be volatile. We might retest the lows. There's no way to know. I use consistency and discipline. So the last time I told you to buy the QQQs at 165, it went to $164.97 and bounced right off of that. And we went up, 20% from that number. You could have bought at that number and sold, raised cash, turn around, wait for it to go down, buy it again. Obviously, each strategy is going to be different. And I do have a separate account that I use for day trading and things like that. This account is my taxable brokerage account. It's the account I'm using for early retirement. So what I'm doing right now is I'm waiting again until the QQQs get down to that 165. So $165 is the price target. If we get to $165 on the QQQ, then I buy another lot. If we don't get to $165, then I'm still buying it, but I'm not buying it from this cash position of the portfolio. I'm buying it up here with my weekly paycheck still. Get it? So that's how this cash is allocated, and that's how it works. No matter what the market does, I can't lose with this strategy. If it goes lower, I'm going to buy more. You say, well, wait for it to come, wait to time the bottom and then buy it all the way up. It never works that way, guys. You simply buy, I use technicals to determine on charts where I'm going to buy something. I stay disciplined. I buy at that rate, and then I simply, just let the cash sit there until it goes lower. If it goes down to 160, I buy again. And I'm buying $5 increments on the QQQs all the way down to 145. That's the lowest technical reading I have. If we get below 145, well, basically I'll be out of cash. And then I'm just continuing to buy the QQQs in here on my weekly paychecks. And eventually, it's going to go up. I can't tell you when, but I think in 2 years, you're going to be way higher than you are now. Maybe I'm wrong, but either way, if you've got a 5-year or a 10-year time horizon, there's a pretty good chance that if you're buying at these levels and you're consistent and you're disciplined, that you're going to be just fine. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful. Just a kind of a quick video, doing a little whiteboard, doing something different, something creative. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you have any questions, drop them below. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.